At an audience with the leadership of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria. State House correspondent Shegulawole reports.
The meeting with the president was at the request of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, who raised concerns over the continued attacks on innocent Nigerians by the Boko Haram sect, resulting in loss of many lives and several others displaced from their homes. The delegation was led by the Catholic Archbishop of Jos and President of the Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, the Most Reverend Ignatius Kaigama.
Mr. President is already doing his bit. He has assured us he's on top of the situation. They are reviewing strategies and all that. And by the grace of God, this terrorism that we are witnessing will soon be a thing of the past.
The bishops are also seeking collaboration with the federal government for effective distribution of relief materials to the internally displaced in the northeastern region of the country as a result of a series of attacks by insurgents.
So we are telling government that we are aware of the wonderful effort they do, the relief they give through NEMA and other agencies, but the effectiveness of distribution is our concern.
President Jonathan also granted audience to the 2014 Senior Executive Course 36, who presented the report of its studies on the country and made recommendations for implementation by the federal government.
Disputes can be settled within the framework of the processes understood by law. Parties to agreements should try as much as possible to work within the agreements. 2, patriotism is required because disruptions in workplaces and in schools have impacted negatively on our national development.
In the State House, Shegulawole, NTA News.
More on insurgency-related stories. One of the 4 victims of a suicide bomb attack at the Federal College of Education, Kontagora, Niger State, has been confirmed dead. The victim, Fasilat Adejoke Oludeji, who was a 300-level student of English language at the institution, died on the way to IBB Specialist Hospital, Mina. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo completes the story.
According to eyewitness accounts, the unidentified bomber who had come into the college unnoticed was seen hurrying towards her target, where a large number of students were reading in the library, preparing to write their end-of-semester examinations in the auditorium 30 minutes before the explosion, which left her dismembered. 3 undergraduate students and 1 almajiri were affected by the bomb blast, but 2 of the victims have been discharged from the college clinic.
I was just trying to enter the library before I just heard the bomb blast. So I cannot explain anything because I don't really know.
I saw myself on the floor with some body part close to me in the front. So when I saw it, as in, I was confused. I did not know the place. As in, I was emotionally down.
We didn't really have any serious casualty. The only one that we had was the one that they told me she was dead at the scene. I wasn't there because when they brought them, we had to attend to them.
I know the security, we have been intimating them to be alert, but how she get inside as a pedestrian, I can't say.
The remains of the suicide bomber were taken to the Kontagora General Hospital, while security operatives condoned the scene of the blast. In Kontagora, Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Director General National Task Force on Small and Light Weapons, Emmanuel Okereke, says an arms cartel in Kogi State has been discovered and the seized arms handed over to the police for prosecution. The Director General disclosed this at a press briefing on national security situation. Correspondent Mohammed Abdul Kadri reports.
The National Task Force on Small and Light Weapons, in collaboration with the police, is set to rid the country of arms trafficking and proliferations, accounting for heightened insecurity in the country.
And calling all security agencies to collaborate with the National Task Force, because we have all the capacity to solve 60% of the insurgency in Nigeria.
While on patrol on search and recovery, the Director General said the discovery and seizure of some illegal goods and arms in the nation's seaways is frightening.
If we can monitor a ship from Ivory Coast to One, and we told the customs what was inside, they were they were confused.
He mandated the directors of the National Task Force on Small and Light Weapons from all the states in the Federation to double up efforts to checkmate arms in circulation, especially now that the 2015 elections are approaching. The Director General, National Task Force on Small and Light Weapons, appealed to President Goodluck Jonathan to address the challenges in the security sector to emplace a progressive, peaceful, and prosperous nation. In Abuja, Muhammad Abdel Kadri, NTA News.
Away from security matters and moving on to educational matters, Education Minister Malam Ibrahim Shekarau has urged Nigerian academics to expedite action at accessing the 7.8 billion naira unaccessed fund for research in Nigerian tertiary institutions. He stated this at the launch of the TED Fund-sponsored specialized higher education textbooks worth 471 million naira. Franca Uzomolua reports.
Over the years, the challenge of inadequate funding rather than that of researchable work was a major issue in the tertiary education subsector. But today, the story has changed as academics and education managers find it difficult to access research funds due to their inability to meet TED Fund guidelines.
Over 70% of these allocated funds are still unaccessed. This trend is not acceptable and does not show seriousness on the part of stakeholders responsible to change the fortune of our tertiary institutions.
However, 20 research titles from Nigerian universities qualified for awards, 17 of them from sciences, technology and innovation, 2 titles from humanities and social sciences, while 1 from cross-cutting thematic area.
A confirmation that TED Fund interventions covered virtually all areas of our educational life, not only infrastructure, but also education-based and content-based.
We are inching towards the new paradigm that we are moving to, and that is thinking about developing research outputs into products.
The event also featured the presentation of TED Fund guidelines on National Research Fund and guidelines on institution-based research. In Abuja, Franca Uzoma Olua, NTA News.
And more on learning, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, has extolled the idea behind the National Library, describing it as a seat of knowledge acquisition. The union, under the aegis of media practitioners and global educational organization led by its leader, Emmanuel Iriobe, stated thus when the group visited the National Library in Abuja. Mr. Iriobe commended the National Librarian, Malam Habib Jato, for transforming the National Library into a citadel of learning. Responding, the National Librarian, Malam Jato, pledged to continue to encourage reading culture in Nigeria.
So actually our own is to set the agenda. Just like the press will set the agenda of topics and issues, things to be discussed in the country. So we are to set the agenda of how a good library should look like. And then the states and the local governments are supposed to take it over, develop it to a higher pinnacle.
The National Library has leadership promotion campaign in 28 branches in Nigeria. In another development, Nigerian youths have been urged to exhibit the spirit of patriotism needed to enhance peace and national development. This came to the fore at a book presentation in Abuja. Correspondent Obiagelu Gwoke reports.
The 3 books, Voice of Patriotic Youth, Moments of the Greatest Decision, and Rapture, are basically on patriotism, moral uprightness, and unpredictable world events. The launch of these books is aimed at creating awareness on the importance of patriotism.
The spirit of patriotism in all our endeavors, and showcasing this in reality from the realist school of thought. The book also portrays one thing I titled on chapter 4, Instrumentality of Education for Positive Social Change.
wrote a 21-page book consisting of 6 chapters, and ringing through all the chapters of the book are issues of leadership, how you can advance the cause of education and development.
NDBC has given us a kind of picture of what we need at this moment, that the nation is going through diverse kind of crises, which a kind of employ youth to be involved in a lot of vices.
The author, evangelist Ezekiel Onu, says the Nigerian government has all it takes to defend her citizenry within and outside her border areas, calling on youths to complement these development efforts. It is expected that with the message contained in these books, youths will be inspired to say no to violence and terrorism, as well as other vices in the country. In Abuja, Obiageli Ugwoke, NTA News.
And still on acquisition of knowledge, Nigeria's efforts at realizing the MDGs in the education sector is being complemented by stakeholders in the country, as well as international agencies. An educationist and provost of the Alvani Kuku College of Education, Owerri, Southeast Nigeria, Dr. Blessing Ijoma, stated this in Imo State capital. Norome Mecheta reports.
In 1963, the then Eastern Region Government of Nigeria established the Advanced Teachers Training College in the old Shell Camp Quarters, Owerri, with the technical assistance from UNESCO, an agency of the United Nations. After several years, authorities of the college seem to have realized the need for a sustained collaboration and partnership with UNESCO. Hence, they rolled out their drums for the first time to appreciate the pivotal role the agency played in the establishment of the college.
We are seeking collaboration in areas of staff development, capacity building, infrastructural development, and then research funding or research activities in various areas of our programs here in Alvani Kuku.
A number of activities such as march past, quiz competition, debate and drama by staff and students of the college featured during the celebration. Dr. ABC Tony Duraku is the Director, Academic Collaboration and Linkages of the institution.
If you are related with a group of people or a body or an entity, when they celebrate, you celebrate. When we celebrate, they celebrate. When we were doing 50 years anniversary here last year, UNESCO was invited and they were present. So it's important for us to maintain this link.
Like Dr. Duraku said, when a tree is shaking, any fruit can fall from it. The hope is that something good might develop from the proposed interface by Alvani Kuku Federal College of Education, Owerri, with UNESCO. In Owerri, Southeast Nigeria, Norom Emecheta, NTA News.
And towards alleviating the sufferings of women, President Goodluck Jonathan has approved the provision of 750,000 clean cook stoves to rural women. This is to kickstart the National Clean Cooking Scheme, which aims at providing 20 million clean cook stoves in Nigeria by the year 2020. Minister of Environment Laurentia Malam said this when she launched the Rural Women Energy Security Initiative in Abuja. Environment correspondent Aisha Benlo Mustafa reports.
Chronic exposure to smoke from traditional cooking practices is one of the world's biggest but least well-known killers. Nigeria loses 95,000 women and children to death caused by firewood every year. This, the federal government intends to reverse.
This is a national emergency, and Nigerian women will step forward to lead the call to action. This is a call to action for all Nigerians. We must save our mothers, sisters, daughters, and wives from preventable illnesses and embrace clean energy.
To achieve the target of 20 million clean cook stoves, I'm happy to announce that through the effort of the Federal Ministry of Environment, a special presidential intervention is in the pipeline with the aim of achieving a target of 20 million clean cook stoves by the year 2020.
RUES is about a business of saving life, of selling clean cook stoves and selling solar lanterns and solar appliances so that women can stop using kerosene stoves and kerosene lanterns also.
The Rural Women Security Initiative has received international acclaim and is described as a win-win affair. Minister of Environment Laurentia Malam handed over the Ruwes campaign to state coordinators who were told to enlighten women to support large-scale adoption of clean and safe cooking solutions as a way to save lives, improve livelihoods, empower women and reduce emissions. Aisha Bello Mustafa, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria. Still to come on the news, update on political developments across the country ahead of 2015 general elections. Plus, sports update and other stories after this timeout. Stay on the news.
FRCN, NTA and VON annual service of 9 lessons in Christmas carols is here again. The program, which started over 10 years ago in Abuja as a local carol night, has grown into a national affair.
It's an exhibition of classical and Nigerian Christmas songs and carols,
featuring spirit-lifting renditions and inspiring messages in celebration of the living Christ.
Celebrated groups like the Last Ekweme Choral Group will be there.
Theme, celebrating the Prince of Peace.
Venue, National Christian Center, Abuja.
Date, Sunday, 14th December 2014.
Time, 3 p.m.
Message giver, Senior Pastor, Dunamis International Gospel Center, Dr. Paul Enenche.
For sponsorship details, call 0803-303-7678.
0803-704-3300.
Or 0802-722-2869.
Coming live on Radio Nigeria, NTA and Voice of Nigeria, Sunday, December 14, 2014.
The FRCN, NTA and VON annual service of 9 lessons and Christmas carols.
Making Christmas memorable for you.
NTA International News.
Good to know you're still there. Now turning to judiciary, the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Zainab Bukachowa, says the court has made adjustments in personnel to ensure that Nigerians continue to enjoy quality service delivery in judiciary. She disclosed this to journalists at a reception organized to honor some retired staff of the court in Abuja. Correspondent Aliu Tukur reports.
With 12 senior officers of the Court of Appeal retiring, President of the court said a structure has already been put in place to ensure that delivering justice to the citizenry is not compromised. On the Election Petition Tribunal, the President said the court has already written for the list of will-be judges that will preside over the Election Petition Tribunal.
We've compiled the list, we've sent the list to the MBA, to the SSS, and I think we've gotten their their comments. So we are going to sit between now and the end of the year and have a comprehensive list of those who are going to participate. And then we've also submitted a budget for election petitions. We are awaiting the outcome.
Former President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Umar Abdullahi, charged the staff of the court to utilize the structure put in place by the court to deliver quality services to Nigerians. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
Now, rekindling the spirit and culture of volunteerism was the thrust of a roundtable interactive session put together by the Kuka Center in Abuja. Correspondent Joseph Orok, who covered the conversation, reports that participants cut across different strata of society. The report.
The culture of volunteerism was always dominant in all traditional society, including Nigeria. But in recent times, the love of money and material rewards has eroded the respect for this culture, exposing the society to ethno-religious violence and insecurity. Speakers at the Kuka Center Conversation Forum believe there is urgent need to generate more practical ways, like relaunching volunteer and community services in Nigeria to rebuild a broken society.
The critical question is for us to develop a sense of concern for the other person, irrespective of who they may be.
No matter where you come from in this vast, rich, diverse country, no matter your ethnicity, your religion,
this volunteer service at a young age imparts the concept that you're all Nigerians.
Being active in local social clubs and ensuring that you learn about development in society and about the process of accountability and transparency.
Volunteerism is an old thing, therefore we need to sustain it, we need to strengthen it, we need to make sure that it works at all levels of government.
The session features the presentation of the book Peace and Reconciliation, a collection of different articles and publication of the Kuka Center by a representative of the Sultan of Sokoto.
That whatever your color as a Nigerian, whatever your profession, whatever your conviction, whatever you do, whatever you choose to do, please volunteer to make Nigeria a better place.
Joseph Orok, NTA News.
Moving on to current political developments in Nigeria. The declaration of President Goodluck Jonathan to run for the second term in office has been described as a welcome development in the annals of democracy in Nigeria. Correspondent Rotimi Oluwagbemi reports that the National Women Leader of House-to-House Support Initiative for Goodluck Jonathan 2015, Chief Mrs. Funmi Uzo Nnaji, stated this during a gathering at the organization's office in Abuja.
Is a man who has started a good work. That work he must finish. We thank God Almighty. God has answered our prayer. This is a answered prayer. No weapon formed nor fashioned against the president will prosper.
In another development, the Good Governance Vanguard and Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria expressed their mood with a carnival ride to show their solidarity for President Goodluck Jonathan's decision to contest for presidential seat come 2015. The coordinator of Good Governance Vanguard, Barrister Uju Ohanenye, promised the group's total support for President Jonathan.
The roads are being repaired. It's all about good governance. It's all about agenda. We don't want this agenda to stop in the middle of the job.
The carnival ride, which took off from the head office of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, was rounded off at the PDP National Secretariat, Abuja. And former prominent gubernatorial candidate in Delta State, Chief Great Ogboru, has joined the race again for 2015. He has collected the nomination form on the platform of the Labour Party. Kemi Fakeye has the details.
Chief Ogboru was at the Secretariat of the Labour Party in company of the chairman of the party in Delta State and supporters. The aspirant said he chose to fulfill his aspiration on the platform of the party because of his belief in its ideology and promised to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people if given the opportunity this time.
We will do everything possible to ensure that we deepen the quest for democracy in Delta State and by extension Nigeria, deepen the understanding of social justice, and to make sure that at the end of the day, we shall only do those things that will promote the ideals for which the Labour Party is best known for.
For the chairman of the Labour Party, Alhaji Abdulkadir Salam, and other chieftains, the aspirant has made the right choice.
We will insist on one man, one vote, one woman, one vote, one youth, one vote, so that we carry the banner into the government house of Delta State.
The party will end the sale of nomination forms on the 25th of this month, while screening of aspirants is scheduled for the 5th of December. In Abuja, Kemi Fakeye, NTA News.
And on the sports scene, Super Eagles depart for Congo-Brazzaville for a make-or-mar Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Red Devils as Team Nigeria prepares to excel at this weekend's Commonwealth Taekwondo Championships in Scotland. Details of sports update with Kene Imabodike.
Nigeria Super Eagles depart for Congo-Brazzaville Thursday for Saturday's crucial 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against the Red Devils Eagles lost 2-3 to Red Devils in the first leg in Calabar and would need to secure victory in the Congo to remain in contention. The coach Stephen Keshi team had light training Thursday morning at the main bowl of Abuja National Stadium. Meanwhile, the Pinnick Amaju-led Nigeria Football Federation has expressed confidence in the ability of the Eagles to deliver in Congo. In another development, African football community would have to wait till weekend or thereabouts to know which country will eventually host the 2015 edition of Africa Cup of Nations. CAF, however, insists that the tournament will take place between January 17 to February 8, 2015, despite Morocco's refusal to host the tournament. In spite of losing 4-5 via penalties to Directorate of Operations and Passports in the final match of the football event, Office of the Comptroller General emerged overall champions in the 7-month-long Made in Nigeria Immigration Service Inter-Directorate Games, which ended in Abuja midweek, having won in 4 other events.
We take an immigration officer that is all-rounded. It's not just walk, and no play, but walk, act, and play. So it's a very exciting event.
Ahead of the forthcoming 2014 Commonwealth Taekwondo Championships scheduled to kick off this weekend in Edinburgh, Scotland, world number 17 Chika Chukwumerije says the 16-man Nigerian team will excel in the elite competition, judging by the quality of athletes and preparations.
It's going to be good to get there and to win medals.
This will be Nigeria's debut at the Commonwealth Taekwondo Championships. With Sports Update, Kanei Mabodike, NTA News.
It's clement here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, and for what Friday's weather will look like in some Nigerian and world cities, let's check out the forecast. And that weather report concludes the news. Thank you for watching.
Our strength as a nation lies in our unity. Come rain or shine, this great promise called Nigeria will stand. Nigeria truly cares for our parents. Our soldiers will definitely bring back our girls. Say no to terrorism. Nigerians, indeed, we will overcome. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
I think I'm a very privileged person. I grew up with parents who believed I should go to school. So you see, the issue of child marriage never arose in my own circumstance. By the time I was 12, 13, my little cousins and friends were being married off, and I couldn't understand why they were getting married, because I think it had been drummed into my head that I had to go to school, I had to graduate, I had to work. So I had grown up with that concept, that I had to be productive. So because of that, I felt a wrong was being done to these girls, that they were being made to get